Have you been wanting to buy a drone but just didn't know where to start? You didn't want to break the bank, but you wanted to have a good quality drone? Come along today and I'll tell you my review of the DJI Mavic Mini. Hi and welcome to another edition of Tech Talk with Troy. Today I'm excited to be able to talk about one of my favorite subjects, and that is drones. A few years ago, I purchased my first drone, and it was the DJI Phantom 3. I loved it. Really cool. I'd never really had the opportunity to try out drone flying before that, and was really impressed with how DJI had put their drone package together and how easy it was to learn to fly. And then not long after that, they started coming out with more advanced drones, of course. They had the Phantom 4 and so forth, and they had more sensors on them. But at that time, I just didn't feel right to use budget money to buy a brand new drone. But eventually, a few years later, I saved up enough pennies, and a couple years ago, I bought the DJI Mavic Pro 2, which I haven't done a review yet on this channel, what I will eventually. After that, just this year, I made the decision to try out the DJI Mavic Mini. And so this is my review of the DJI Mavic Mini. This is not sponsored by DJI. This is my own personal review of my own purchase of this drone. And so let's get started. So when you first get this drone, you're going to be really in awe of how lightweight it is. You know, that is one of the selling points of this drone, is the weight of it, because it's only 249 grams. And the reason that is so significant is because it's below the threshold that the FAA requires for drone registration in most countries, but definitely here in the United States. Now, that doesn't mean you can go and fly this wherever you want or break any local or laws when you're flying your drone. You still need to stay within those guidelines. But with this lightweight drone, you don't have all the FAA regulations for registering it, at least at the time of this filming. So it's very lightweight, and pretty much fits in the palm of your hand. Easy to carry. You can put it almost in any bag. It actually opens up, if you're familiar with the Mavic series, like the Pro or the Zoom, the legs just unfold front and back. Now the propellers on this, they are held on by screws, which that's kind of different than the others that you can actually pop on and off if you want to. But these, you've got to use a little screwdriver to put them on and off. So you've got your gimbal cover here on the front. It's a lot easier, I think, to take on and off than the other ones. But it just pops off there, and you've got your 3-axis gimbal camera there on the front. These are not sensors that you see on the front. They almost look like it, but they're probably more for air intake to keep the drone cool. And the drone does have some bottom sensors on it when it's trying to land. That's the only sensors that it has. It doesn't have any other obstacle avoidance. That's one thing different on this drone than on the other Mavic Pro series drones. So this will also help it hover in place better with that bottom sensor. In the back is where you have your SD card slot, and you can also hook your USB cable here. And then under this door, you've got your battery compartment that you just slide the battery right here in the direction of the connector, and just lock the door. Pretty simple. You do have an option when you buy this Mavic Mini. You can go with the standard purchase, which is a $399 investment for this drone, or you can get what's called the Fly More combo, which actually is, in my opinion, well worth the extra $100 that you have to pay. So the Fly More combo is what I got, and it was $499. So let's take a look at what you get in the Fly More combo box. First of all, you're going to get a nice carry case that you see there. Off to the left, they're going to give you some propeller guards. I wouldn't say that I use these very often. I've seen people talk about using those when you want to fly indoors, which that's not something I usually do anyway. But they're nice to have as part of the Fly More combo. Then you're going to get some extra connectors, depending on if you're going to use a lightning style connector or a micro USB or something like that. You're going to get your charging block and then 2 USB charging cables. You're going to get a 3-compartment battery charger. So not only do you get one battery that normally comes with the Mavic Mini, you're going to get 2 additional batteries in the Fly More combo, totaling 3. And so this charger actually can charge all 3 in succession, one at a time. And then, of course, you're going to get the drone, which you see here in the middle. You're going to get the controller. You're going to get some spare knobs for the controller. There are 2 knobs tucked inside the controller as well when it comes. You're going to get 3 additional sets of propellers. And you're going to get a screwdriver that they include to attach those propellers if you need to change them. So that's what comes in the box. If you only are getting the drone package without the Fly More combo, these are the items that you will get just with that package, the $399 package. So let's take a look at the application you use to actually fly the DJI Mavic Mini. I have it in my drone segment. And then for this particular drone, you have to use the DJI Fly App. There's other apps you have to use for other products, but for the Mini, you have to use the DJI Fly. Okay, so then you'll be met with this screen once you have your controller on and connected to the aircraft. And if there are any updates that need to be taken care of, you will see it on this screen. And then if you just hit Go Fly, then you will come to the main fly screen. So I'm going to kind of walk you around the screen. This is by no means exhaustive of what it can do, and I'm not really like training you how to do it, but just kind of showing you around the screen and how you can control it. So in the upper left hand corner, you have your modes. You can go between sport mode, which is a faster flying speed, what's called Cinesmooth mode, which slows everything down so it gives it more of a cinematic feel when you're filming something. And then what I call the regular P mode or position mode is what you would normally fly in. Then you're going to have some messages up here in the middle. You can kind of see, it's hard to see with the window there, but right now it says takeoff is permitted. Now DJI has integrated map zoning within their app, so it knows if you're in an area that you're not allowed to take off in, near airports or other areas that are blocked off that we're not allowed to fly in. So it would tell you that here. As you continue on, you're going to next come across how many satellites that you are connected to, and as you can see in this particular one, we have 16, which is really good. You want to have the more the better satellites to help you with your GPS positioning. Then you're going to have your signal to the drone itself from the controller. Next to that is your battery. You can actually click on that and you'll see your battery temperature and the flight time and your voltage. Okay, we're going to skip the three dots there in the corner for now. As you continue down the right side of the screen, you're going to click on some settings for photo, video, and your quick shots. So here right now it's on the video setting. You can of course film at 2.7K maximum. So you could do that, or 1080p. And then you can choose your frames per second there on the left. 60 frames per second up to maximum for 1080p. And for 2K, 30 frames per second is your max. So good quality. It's not 4K, but it does a very good job. With this latest update that just came out, they used to not allow you to change the shutter speed and so forth on the video settings. The latest update has just come out to where you can change the shutter, your ISO, and you can do manual or auto. For your photo settings, you can do a single shot or a time shot, however many seconds you want to have the camera wait before it takes a picture. And then you also have control of manual settings for your photos, or you could do automatic. And then your quick shots, which it will not let me take or go into this mode since I'm not flying. But these are the preset sort of programs that will do special effects, like fly around a certain thing, or do what they call a droney, where it flies away from you. And so those they have some built-in programs that are really cool there. And then you've got your shutter, start and stop button. The white button will take a picture or start your video. Down at the bottom middle, you will sort of see where the drone is in comparison to where you're standing. So that's kind of handy if you can't quite see it in the sky. Sometimes you kind of lose visibility of it with the sky background. You can kind of see where it's at in relationship to your controller. To your right, to your left, behind you, what have you. You also will have a map view here in the left corner, which you can see where the drone is on the map. You can also increase that map and then switch between what the camera is receiving versus what's on the map. You've got your height in feet and then your distance. And then the little arrow up indicator to the left middle of the screen is what you would hit to actually take off the drone. And then you're going to be met with another button that you hold for a couple seconds to take the drone off. But we're not going to do that now since we're in the house. Okay, back up to the top right-hand corner is where you have all of your settings. We'll just kind of go through these briefly. You've got your max altitude. Your max distance is set there. You can alter that if you'd like. Auto return to home altitude. This is what happens with the drone if it has to come home automatically. You can update the home point here. Here are your sensors. You've got your IMU, and it says before we fly, we would need to calibrate it. Our compass would need to be calibrated, both of those. Here's your advanced safety settings. If you lose signal, most likely you're just wanting to return to home. You can have it descend right where it is, or just hover. And then you can have emergency propeller stops. It tells you how to do that. You never want to do this when you're flying unless it's an absolute emergency, but you just pull the controllers to the middle or to the outside corners, and the propellers will just stop where they are. And then a really cool feature, Find My Drone. If your drone goes down and like in a field or something because it ran out of battery or what have you, this is a feature to take you the last place it had a signal on the map. So it helps you to find your drone in the case that you happen to lose track of it. Okay, across the top, the next one is the control settings. Again, we have our flight modes, Cinesmooth, position, and sport. Your units of measure, your gimbal mode. Follow me is the usual setting that you would use to have a nice smooth setting on your gimbal. Advanced gimbal settings would be here. And then you have some of the remote control options to recalibrate and the mode for your stick. And there's a flight tutorial down here that you can go through if you're a beginner. Very helpful to do that. And then you have your settings for your camera. You got your SD card information there that you can format. And then you have some advanced shooting settings. And then you have your transmission settings. Usually you shouldn't have to mess with this too much, but it will, if you just keep it in auto mode, it will try to find the signal that's best for the drone and the controller to communicate. And then About will give you all the information about your firmware and then the database that you're using for Fly Safe and so forth. So that's a little tour around the screen when you are actually flying your drone. So if you're new to drone flying, I would say that this drone is very easy to learn how to fly. And I wanted to share some of the main specs that come with this particular drone. So it does claim to have 30-minute flight time, and from my experience flying it already, that's about right. But of course you would never want to push your drone that far to where it could fall out of the sky from running out of battery. But you know, you could get a good 20-25 minutes safely out of it before you have to land it again. And of course, if you get the Fly More combo, you've got 2 more batteries ready to go, so you can keep flying almost like an hour and a half straight. So that's great. Of course, I already mentioned that the weight of the drone is 249 grams. It's got a 1.5.3 inch 12 megapixel sensor for the camera. It has 2.7K HD maximum resolution that you can choose when you're taking video. It does have intelligent functions such as a drone or the rocket feature, and those are just pre-programmed things the drone can do to take video of you while you're standing there. So it's pretty cool. Does have, like I mentioned before, the downwards facing sensors, so when you're landing and hovering, it knows, you know, kind of where it is in comparison to the ground. And it's got a nice 3-axis gimbal, so that when it's flying, you're going to get very nice cinematic photography when you're taking your videos. And it has 4-kilometer HD video transmission to your phone when it's flying. So I would say for some pros and cons, let's start with the cons. And I would say really the main one that I've noticed is the distance that the controller can communicate with the drone itself. Now, if you have an unobstructed area that it's free from any other trees or houses or anything like that, you're going to get a much better signal and can go much further than what I've actually experienced here in more of a suburban type setting. So I think if you're out in more of a rural setting where you have no obstructions, you're going to get a much farther distance in flying your drone without losing the signal. And the other one is not really a con, but some people might look at it that way, is it doesn't go to 4K video, but the 2.7K is still adequate. So the pros, I would say, the flight time is good. Also, you've got those vision sensors on the bottom, the 3-axis gimbal, and a very easy control system with the controller. It does not have a screen like some of the more higher end drones, but everything you need is right there on your phone. And of course, the other pro is how lightweight it is. You just can't beat that. Let's take a look at some of the video that I've taken already with this drone when we went down to Kentucky, Louisville, Kentucky, and flew over the Ohio River. So overall, I'm very pleased with the DJI Mavic Mini. I think for the money that you spend on this, it is very high quality. Of course, DJI puts a lot of thought and effort into the quality of their products, and this is no exception. It shines above all the rest, in my opinion. The portability of this and the price certainly is something that you would want to invest in, even if from a beginner, or even if you've already had experience in flying other drones. They make it almost effortless to understand how to fly these drones. So with a little practice, you'll be up and flying in no time with the DJI Mavic Mini. So I hope you found this video helpful. If you're not a subscriber yet to my channel, I would absolutely love you to hit that subscribe button down below, and hit the like button if you would, and give me a comment or a question if you have any about this drone, and I'll be happy to answer anything that I can. So until next time, thank you for watching another edition of Tech Talk with Troy.